Welcome back to Midco Sports Tonight. Rejoined by David Brown, going through the questions facing every NSIC football team this spring. So let's discuss Upper Iowa now. 6-5 last year, but that doubled their win total from 2016. Pass defense, a huge part of that, one of their biggest strengths. David, can they keep that up?
They can, and part of that reason is Jordan Ramos, a great safety for the Peacocks. Second in the NSIC, 5 interceptions last season. In fact, Upper Iowa loses only one defensive back to graduation. That last line of defense is what separates the Peacocks from other teams. They only gave up 150 passing yards per game last season. That led the conference. They're going to be young in that front seven, but Jordan Ramos can be a catalyst for this defense, which is opportunistic, smart, plays within itself. Look for Upper Iowa to continue evolving on the defensive side of the ball.
All right, switching gears to the offense. Wide receiver Jared Edmonds has graduated, but he accounted for nearly half of Upper Iowa's receiving yards last season. So with that, what will the focus be this season on offense?
It seems kind of obvious, but the focus should be on the running game. They have all three of their leading rushers coming back: Ryan Parmalee, Antoine Connor, and John DePrey. We saw flashes from all three of them last season. Connor, the transfer from USD, was dealing with some injuries, but the Peacocks have the ability to be a ground and pound team in 2018. Of course, as any good coach will tell you, the running game isn't effective without a solid O-line. There will be some turnover there, but with experience in the backfield, look for the Peacocks to stick with what works. They averaged nearly 200 yards on the ground per game last season.
Wow. Well, also one of those top rushers for the Peacocks was quarterback BRENT LAMMERS, but can he take his game even higher?
He's going to have to, and I know that sounds ludicrous to say because he was second in the NSIC in overall individual offense, but the fact remains this was essentially a 500 team last season. The Peacocks were middle of the pack in a lot of offensive categories, and as the director of the offense, LAMMERS is going to need to be even more precise in 2018. Yes, the running game will help, but when should he run? How is he going to develop a new set of receivers and tight ends? Is there going to be a drop-off in passing without Edmonds as a security blanket? LAMMERS will have a familiar face on the coaching sidelines. Ben Curran, back as offensive coordinator previously with the Peacocks from 2014 to 2016. Can he help LAMMERS elevate things? That may be the key to whether Upper Iowa can join the upper echelon of the NSIC.
Oh, I see what you did there.
I tried.
All right, finally, we're moving on to Augustana. 4-7 last season, a tough year after a record-setting offense in 2016. We asked the same question last year. What's the quarterback situation right now?
It's to be determined, but for right now, Kyle Sadler is the guy. Had a rocky freshman campaign, but he was thrust into action after some injuries. He's the only QB on the roster with Augustana experience. 10 touchdowns, 17 interceptions last season. That included 7 in one game against Wayne State. Only completed 44% of his passes, but he's got a good personality to learn from his mistakes. If you talk to head coach Jerry Olszewski, he'll rave about Sadler's patience and his ability to learn. What's difficult for Augie fans is that Trey Hyde, the record-setting quarterback from a couple years ago, he kind of spoiled them with some eye-popping stats and moves and numbers. Every team, however, they go through these cycles. Augustana simply has to find their new quarterback. Will Sadler earn the job? That remains to be seen, but he has the experience right now and the leg up because he has the trust of the coaching staff.
That's huge. But 2 years ago, the Vikings averaged more than 42 points per game. Trey Hyde, last season, around 21. So how can they get back to that high-flying offense?
Balance, weirdly enough, and I think you're going to see more balance from Augustana, especially in the rushing game. Ryan Bradbury, he's going to be a problem for NSIC defenses this year. Only a sophomore, 5'10", 225, has shown the ability to be a complete back, whether it's speed on the outside or pounding it between the tackles. Rudy Sinflorent is another back that Augustana will rely on. He had some foot issues last year, so at full strength, those two backs can provide a solid rushing attack. Still looking for consistency at wide receiver, but their leading touchdown receiver, Jake Welsheimer, is back. They also have NDSU grad transfer Sean Engel. He's a big 6'5" kid. If he can provide some pop immediately, this offense can score and score in bunches.
Well, putting points up is important, but obviously you have to stop him as well. So defensively, where can Augustana be the strongest?
At the linebacking core, and that's easy to say when you have the two-time reigning tackles leader in the conference in Kirby Orr. You know you've got someone who will anchor this defense and be a leader. A little more turnover in the secondary, however, but the defensive line has to get to the quarterback. Only 21 sacks last year in 11 games, bottom 4th of the league. Seniors like Joey Newman and Dalton Fromm are going to be critical. I think a lot was learned from last season about the difficulty in losing so many important seniors on both sides of the ball. Injuries play a role as well, but depth and consistency are critical for Augustana this season. I think the bitter taste with how 2017 went will help guide them for 2018.
All right, great stuff. Thank you so much, David.
Absolutely.
Coming up next, it is a Sioux Falls battle in head-to-head. Elaine Lanson versus Tom Neiman. Stay with us.
Midco Sports Tonight, presented by Avera Orthopedics.